Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Prime Universe Voyager class Bulkhead. This was brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, and much like the RC we looked at yesterday, my good buddy Evil Villain, click the link in the description below, head on over to his Instagram and give him a follow. Let him know I sent you. But as always, don't be a jerk, or he might break your legs. So, with that being said, I'm kind of split on this figure. On one hand, it's a solid Transformer, as I hit puberty mid-sentence. On the other hand, it looks nothing like Transformers Prime Bulkhead. In fact, I think it's closer to animated series, or animated Bulkhead, but we'll talk about it. So, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look, see at all he has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with this little cannon here, which is a clear plastic, as well as the mace that can clip over his hand. It's all fine and dandy. This plugs onto a piece on his back to become a shoulder cannon. Took me a minute to figure out where that went, but figured it out. We also get this top half of the truck mode that doubles as a riot shield. Just flip that peg down and you can plug it into his back, no problem. But that's cool. But other than that, that's your lot for accessories. Now, taking a closer look at Bulkhead himself, he's a solid figure. He's a little hollow in the torso for my liking. I just stick my pinky up in there and wrap it around this post. But as far as articulation goes, his head is on a little ball joint. You can look around. Not really any tilts, but he can do a little bit there. Shoulders can pop out, back down. They can rotate around. He's got a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. Just pretty tight, not gonna lie. Compared to RC, anyways, he's pretty tight. Even knockout there, wonky leg knockout. So get more than 90 out of that elbow. Proof that you don't need double doubles all the time. He's got that swivel in the wrist. If I bring in his little mace ball, it won't get stuck underneath something. Take the little mace ball, you can port it on his hand like so, collapse it up and over, and there you go. Get the spike ball hand he's known for. You also get a waist twist. Be mindful you don't dislodge the waist assembly. And you can kick out, you can kick down, back, forward. He's got a thigh cut up in there. Single jointed knee. About 90 out of that. And then his feet can rock side to side, but they also have individual hinges, so you can pretty much pose him however you want. So he's not limited due to his build, but again, he has a very blocky build. It's a G1-ified Prime Universe Bulkhead, if you will. And one thing you can do, you see this peg here, there's a peg hole right here, and you can mount this cannon on his shoulder, which isn't accurate to anything, but I like to put it up there for safekeeping. I don't know, I like it as a shoulder cannon. And we have the riot shield, which we fold these panels back. This will be a little easier to get in here. Plug this in there. And then you can fold these panels forward if you want. Sleeker look. So he doesn't have wings sticking off his back. And there you go. There is Prime Universe Bulkhead. All kitted out with his accessories. Ready to stomp some Decepticon bow tie. I like this figure, but again, it's an odd one because it's not really Prime Universe, whereas the animated stuff really feels like animated. Prime Universe stuff feels like some amalgamation of Prime and G1. That said, the best Prime Universe Bulkhead we ever got was the first edition, was it, back in the day? That was at Toys R Us. I think it was Takara exclusive at first, but then it made it to Toys R Us here in the States. But before we wrap this up, bring in our two regulars. Get the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith right there. And the infamous Kurt 11 Spawn, who, as usual, yeah, towers over everyone. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and out of all the Transformers Prime characters from the early days of Legacy, I think it's safe to say that good old Bulkhead here is by far the best one, despite how blocky he is in comparison to his actual Transformers Prime design. He is the most satisfying in both robot and vehicle mode, despite the fact that, yeah, it doesn't really look like him too much. There are some design elements from Prime that are easy to spot in this figure, but for the most part, it is basically a G1-ified version of a Prime Universe character. So, with that being said, before we wrap this sucker up, why don't we get this guy transformed and take a closer look at his vehicle mode. And as promised, here we have good old Bulkhead in his rolling green brick mode, because that's exactly what this is. Why does this thing not have, like, a nose on it, or a hood? It is a flat-nosed military truck. This ain't even close to what he looked like in Transformers Prime. This is probably closer to what he looked like in Transformers Animated, if anything, because that was actually a flat-nosed SWAT truck, or military truck. Bulkhead in Transformers Prime, wasn't he just some kind of off-road, heavy-duty Jeep-looking thing? I think so, or Hummer, maybe. But at any rate, he can roll back and forth. He's got the gun on the top. You can store it there if you want. That's all fine and dandy. The feet can pull down when they're not stuck, that is. And you can hopefully get his stupid little mace ball out. There it is. You can get his little mace ball out. Or you can store it back in there. Whichever you choose. That's really the only place it has to go. A nice little means of weapon storage, but yeah, it's just kind of, I would have rather it integrated into the vehicle mode. But whatever. It is what it is. I like this figure, but this mode is definitely not why I like this figure. I think the robot mode's pretty solid for being a pseudo G1 representation of the character, but yeah, I think some of the later Transformers Prime releases fare much better. I know that the Cliff Jumper and Smokescreen I have pre-ordered look a little better. The Skyquake and Dreadwing figures look better. The Thundertron we're going to be taking a look at looks way better. I think they improved as time progressed. The animated ones seem to be okay from the jump, but these Prime ones, I don't know why, but seems like they needed to have some growing pains before they really started firing on all cylinders. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.